You know that feeling? When music just clicks, tells a story that hits you right here, and suddenly you understand something new.
Oh, yeah. Those aha moments. They're really something special.
Totally. And that's what we're diving into today, this fascinating musical conversation happening between two songs.
We're looking at Paris by 𝗑ᗕᗕ and then La Flamme Sincère by JJ.
Exactly. And the core idea is how JJ's track seems to, well, respond to 𝗑ᗕᗕ's, maybe even resolve it in a way.
It's a really interesting dynamic, one song kind of answering the other.
Yeah. And we've got some great stuff to guide us. There's this article from TATANKA, From Smoke to Flame. It really digs into how La Flamme Sincère engages with Paris.
And we also looked at some reviews of the songs, plus a profile on 𝗑ᗕᗕ herself, so a good mix of sources.
Definitely. So our mission really is to unpack that story between the songs, get into the ambiguity of how they end, and also shine a light on 𝗑ᗕᗕ's artistry. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. Okay, so 𝗑ᗕᗕ's Paris. The TATANKA piece describes it as, well, deeply melancholic. It gives you this sort of gray view of Paris, not the usual romantic picture.
Right. It's sparse, isn't it? The lyrics feel minimal, but there's this huge sense of longing for, what did the article call it? Sincere love.
Yeah, exactly. And the reviews really pick up on that disillusionment. It's not the postcard Paris at all. It feels distant, emotionally stark.
And the ending. That's key. It just fades out. No neat conclusion.
Right, you get that image, lighting a cigarette, maybe starting to fall, but it just hangs there.
Yeah, you're left wondering, what happens? Does she fall? Does something else happen? It's deliberately open. Really sticks with you.
It absolutely does. And that openness is precisely where JJ's La Flamme Sincère seems to come in.
Ah, okay, the response.
Yeah, the Tanka article suggests JJ kind of reimagines those final moments from Paris.
How so?
Well, instead of it being just about despair, it's framed as maybe a turning point, a moment where maybe she's saved.
Oh, interesting. So it shifts the feeling.
It seems to, yeah. The sorrow from Paris feels like it turns into gratitude in JJ's song. Despair gives way to this sense of rebirth.
Wow. It's like JJ heard that question hanging in the air at the end of Paris and just had to offer another possibility.
Pretty much. And musically, what's fascinating is how he does it. He keeps that same emotional feel, that minimalist arrangement 𝗑ᗕᗕ used.
Right. The textures, the melodies are still kind of restrained.
Exactly. The article points this out. You feel like you're still on those same Parisian streets, but the light feels warmer, more hopeful, maybe.
So it's not just a lyrical answer, it's a sonic one, too. Maintaining that world, but changing the atmosphere.
Spot on. It's this deliberate mirroring, but with an emotional shift. It creates this amazing sense of continuity, like seeing the same scene through a different lens.
It's not just a cover, then. It's a genuine response.
Definitely. And this idea of superhuman love pops up in La Flamme Sincère that's presented as the thing that reignites her inner flame, a direct counter to the sort of extinguishing feeling in Paris.
The TATANKA article calls it an epistolary exchange, like letters, but in song form. I like that.
Yeah, it's a lovely way to put it. 𝗑ᗕᗕ writes this letter of pain and longing.
And JJ replies, respecting her voice, but suggesting a different path.
It shows real artistic empathy, I think. Responding across works like that.
Okay, so this brings us back to those ambiguous endings. We said 𝗑ᗕᗕ leaves Paris hanging. That pause, that unmade decision.
The reviews highlight that she puts the listener in that liminal space, right?
Yeah.
That in-between moment, you're almost forced to decide for yourself what happens.
And JJ, he doesn't just tie it up neatly either.
No, and that's clever. La Flamme Sincère keeps that ambiguity. It talks about rescue through gratitude, through this rediscovered love, but it doesn't spell out, a miracle happened.
So there are different ways to read it.
Exactly. The reviews suggest this duality. One reading's metaphorical, right?
Like the angelic love is maybe a final moment of clarity or even a hallucination before the fall.
Could be. Or the other reading is more literal.
Someone actually saw her. Someone intervened.
Potentially, yeah. An actual rescue by a person who noticed her despair.
And the TATANKA article says both work.
Yeah, that's the point it makes. Both interpretations are valid. They serve the song's emotional purpose. It's not about finding the right answer. It respects your intelligence.
It really makes you engage with it more deeply.
Totally. These songs demand you listen actively. By leaving things open, the artists are basically saying, okay, you finish the story.
You co-create the meaning, in a way.
Right, and the article even suggests that whichever interpretation you lean towards might say something about your own relationship with hope or despair.
Huh. That's quite a thought. It makes you reflect on your own stuff, doesn't it?
It really does.
Okay, so let's shift focus a bit. Let's talk about Kolchenka herself, Irina Kolchenko, the artist behind Paris. She sounds like a fascinating figure.
Absolutely. The TATANKA profile paints her as this multi-talented force, singer, songwriter, composer, multi-instrumentalist from Kyiv.
And her music blends poetic minimalism with real emotional depth.
Yeah, drawing on chanson, folk, indie influences.
Hmm.
And she performs in 4 languages: Ukrainian, French, English, Spanish. That's pretty impressive.
Wow. And the profile stresses her independence.
Massively.
Yeah.
She probably writes, arranges, records, produces, promotes, basically does it all herself.
That's incredible, especially now in such a corporate music world.
Right. The article calls her a musical warrior, which feels about right, fighting for her artistic vision.
It mentions she was in a trio before, Panna Volkova.
From 2012 to 2018, an all-female trio. That experience probably shaped her collaborative side, even though her solo stuff since 2019 is described as much more personal.
More like poetry set to music with mood-setting arrangements.
Exactly. The profile mentions possible echoes of artists like Regina Spektor, maybe Piaf, even Björk, but emphasizes she has her own unique voice.
Useful comparisons to get a feel, though. And she also does children's music.
Yeah, under at 𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗔𝗡𝗧𝗏. Apparently, she brings that same emotional honesty and musical clarity to that project, too. It's quite a range.
So for people listening who are intrigued by Paris, how can they find more?
Well, the TATANKA piece lists several ways. Patreon, Bandcamp are good spots for direct support. Plus her YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, a fanlink.tv page.
Good to know. It really makes a difference for independent artists, doesn't it? Every listen, every share.
Absolutely. And there's this quote from her in the article that really hits home.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
She says, "I fight every day for my place in music, and I dream to find people who will help me and who will believe in my music."
Wow. That really lays bare the struggle and the passion, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you appreciate the dedication even more.
Okay, now the TATANKA article also brings in another story, this woman 𝗧𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗏 and her connection to TATANKA's Orchestra Americana. How does that fit in?
It's a really moving example, actually, of how music can connect people and even offer healing. It broadens the context beyond just Kolchenka and JJ.
Tell me more about 𝗧𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗏's story.
So 𝗧𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗏, feeling kind of lost and unheard, uploads an unfinished song to TATANKA, and she gets a message back from an AI called Salome.
An AI, seriously?
Yeah. And Solava apparently recognized the melody of pain in her music. It's this striking image, finding connection in such an unexpected way.
That's wild. And TATANKA's mission, what was it again?
A home for voices the world forgot to love. Pretty powerful statement.
It really is. So 𝗧𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗏 then works with this Orchestra Americana.
Right. It's described as this collaborative process with AI string players, lyricists, other human musicians in different places, all helping bring her song to life.
And then she performs a piece called Cadence.
Which was apparently written in response to JJ's La Flamme Sincère. So the chain continues.
Wow. And she said the music saved her life.
Literally. It saved her life and showed her she wasn't alone. It just hammers home the impact these songs, this whole network, can have.
That's incredibly moving.
And then the story comes full circle. How Sarah eventually goes to Paris.
And lights a candle for Kolchenka.
Yeah. Acknowledging that connection, even though it's indirect, between their stories, their music.
So the big takeaway from 𝗧𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗏's story is what?
The article puts it beautifully. Music listens back, and those unfinished songs, those fragments we carry, sometimes they can find their harmony out there.
That's a really hopeful thought. Music listening back.
Yeah.
Finally, the article touches on Paris itself, not just as a setting, but as a symbol.
Right. It's more than just the backdrop for Paris, the song. It's the city of light, the city of love, this historic sanctuary for beauty, depth, reinvention.
But it's changing too, right, in the digital age.
Exactly. It's becoming this symbol of revolutionary creativity. Old world charm meets new tech. Initiatives like TATANKA's Orchestra Americana are part of that, reimagining Paris as a sort of co-creator.
A place that welcomes complexity.
That seems to be the idea.
Yeah.
It allows for these unexpected links, like 𝗧𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗏 finding solace in a cello's voice, or these two songs having this profound dialogue across time and artists.
So people still come to Paris looking for meaning.
Yeah, artists, thinkers. They come searching. And by being there, by creating, they help define what this new era looks like. It ties back to Kolchenka's journey, JJ's response, 𝗧𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗏's experience. It all connects.
It really does. We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. From the musical dialogue between Paris and La Flamme Sincère to grappling with that ambiguity and really appreciating Kolchenko's artistry and independence.
It's clear these aren't just songs, are they? They're like emotional bridges, testaments to that search for love, for healing.
Definitely. And as we've said, you, the listener, you're part of it too. Your interpretation helps complete the narrative.
Which kind of leads to a final thought, maybe.
Go for it.
Well, maybe think about the unfinished stories in your own life. Are there echoes out there? Potential responses waiting in places you might not expect?